let's talk about the one thing that is keeping a lot of people from being an excellent handgun shooter. And that one thing is the subconscious. And what I mean by that is I'm going to start off with this question. And this question is especially applicable to military and law enforcement folks, security, anybody that carries a gun day to day for their duties or what have you. But it also applies to everybody, people that carry conceal, what have you. And that question is, how many of you have had a dream at some point in your lifetime, or at multiple points in your lifetime, where you're in a self-defense situation in your dream? Your threat's in front of you, you draw your handgun or what have you on that threat, and for some reason you try to engage the threat, but for some reason the trigger becomes 100 pounds. When you fire off a round, it goes click instead of bang. Or if you manage to fire off a round, it has no effect on the attacker. And there's other variances, but for whatever reason you try to engage that attacker, but it's just not working. And then you wake up, and then you're thinking, boy, what was that all about? I had my gun out, I was facing this guy, what a weird dream. And you just kind of chalk it off to having, just a dream, just one of those dreams, whatever. And you don't think about it. Well, I'll tell you right now, I believe that is your subconscious telling you something. It's telling you, for whatever reason, you're not either emotionally ready for self-defense, or you're not physically ready, maybe you're not trained enough. The subconscious is a very powerful and mysterious thing. And a lot of people don't understand it. I used to have those dreams all the time. A long time ago, I would have it. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, wow. I was facing off with this knucklehead in my dream. For some reason, I could not get my gun to fire. The trigger pull was like 30 pounds, each trigger pull. And when it did go off, it missed the target. I don't have them as much anymore. In fact, very rarely. I won't say that I stopped having them 100%. It's just I very rarely have one. If I do, it's not really so much the gun not working, it's just, the person being kind of superhuman. That's kind of where my dream is at. And I'm not afraid to admit it because, you know what, that's why I still train. Training never ends. When you're training, especially if you're in a peace officer career field, military, security, or if you carry conceal, the training should never end. As long as you carry a gun, you need to be training with it. No excuse for not training. But anyway, the subconscious, it's a powerful thing. And I really think that the subconscious was telling me, hey, got to train more. And the training has to be useful. And I think what you need to do in order to retrain your subconscious is you need to go back to the basics. Now, it's pretty much a general thing when somebody says, hey, it takes about 1,000 repetitions for something to become automatic. And I agree with that. It could be more for some people, could be less for some people, but let's say 1,000 is a good number. Now think about when you go out, or when your buddies have went out and shot a handgun, semi-automatic handgun, at a range. What do? They get on target, bang, 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 bang. Well, you can see here, I'm kind of trying to exaggerate it for the camera, but the gun's jerking a little bit, the trigger control sucks. Well, think about that. If you go out and your buddy shoots, let's say 500 rounds in a range visit, then you go out another couple of weeks and he shoots another 500 rounds. What did he just do? He just did 1,000 repetitions of shooting the handgun the wrong way. Now it's automatic. The more you go out to the range and you just blast around, you're doing things the wrong way, you're training yourself to do things the wrong way. So when you're jerking that handgun in a non-stress situation, when it becomes a stressful situation, you're going to jerk it again. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way your mind works. So what you need to do is turn things around and realize, hey, okay, I've been doing things the wrong way, and it's become automatic in my subconscious mind, because that's what it does. If all you do is you go out and just haphazardly shoot rounds into a mound of dirt, and there's really no fundamentals being applied, it is what it is. So now you have to start back from square one. You have to start back and go, wait a minute. Let's go back to the fundamentals. Let's go back to trigger squeeze. sight fundamentals, learning not to worry about the recoil. And that's really hard for some people. But we have to overcome it. And it's a long process. It's a very long process. And it takes a lot of training. But where it pays off is on the competition field. It pays off for those of you that may be faced with a life or death situation. And instead of being killed, you walk away from it. Or you save someone else's life. That's where it pays off. So I just want to stop this video. I'm going to do some other videos talking about shooting semi-automatic handguns. This is kind of focusing on the subconscious here, and how to kind of realize, hey, you might be doing the wrong thing and you don't even know it. So take a good, honest look at yourself. I had to do that years ago, and it's really made me a better shooter today than I was a few years ago. Kind of leave the ego out of it and realize that you may be doing a lot of wrong things at the range. Every single one of you watching this video can shoot a handgun like a marksman. I don't care what your experience level is. You just don't realize it yet. Recoil control, grip, sight alignment, trigger squeeze, all that is controlled by the subconscious. Yeah, you can consciously do it, but there are some subconscious things that come into play. And before I stop this video, I'm going to give a perfect example. I've shot with shooters that are experienced in firearms. I've shot with them, and you know, they knew their handguns, they knew how to shoot, but they weren't the most accurate. They knew the fundamentals. They had knowledge of all the fundamentals. They knew that, hey, don't worry about the recoil, trigger squeeze, follow it to the rear, sight alignment, bang, the gun will go off. My shot should be right on target. But for some reason, when they get out there, their gun gets on target. They know all the right things, but they still, and again, I'm exaggerating it, their shots still go everywhere. Even though they know in their head consciously that this is what they need to do, their subconscious takes over. Why? Because subconsciously they've done those wrong repetitions. And that's what their subconscious knows, is to jerk the gun, to try and fight the recoil, to get through that trigger squeeze so you can start another trigger squeeze as fast as possible. So, my other videos, I'll talk more about the mechanics of the trigger squeeze and stuff like that, but I'm just talking about this one. Just wanted to focus on the subconscious. Please be honest with yourself. Everybody's human. It's part of the human body. We all have things we have to overcome if we're going to excel at one skill or another. So with that, stay safe, and feel free to leave your comments, and whether they're good or bad, and if you have any video links, go ahead and leave them in the comments as always. Thanks for watching.